Right now at noon, it's one of the biggest election days in recent memory with high turnouts expected across the country. With the big day finally here, the candidates are making their last campaign pitches across Wisconsin. We'll show you how people on the UW campus are trying to make it as easy as possible for young people to get to the polls.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Spreiter. You'll see Mark in our later newscast today. On this election day, you might want to take your umbrella and jacket with you to the polls. Meteorologist Chris Reese is tracking that rain. Kind of pesky out there today.
It has been kind of pesky, but I'll admit we've honestly lucked out compared to what the weather could have been. Some of that rain has worked its way on out of here, but we're still left with at least a few lingering showers. Still very cloudy out there and cool as well. The temperature right now sitting in the 40s, and we are going to be dropping through the 40s as we go through the rest of the afternoon. The airport coming in at 46 degrees with some light rain showers. Winds pointing out of the west and northwest at 13 miles per hour right now. That's the sustained wind, but it gets even faster. 26 the sustained winds in Monroe. We are going to be breezy as temperatures continue to drop. But here's the rain moving on out, and here is the cold air moving in. The coldest of that air coming in right behind this front right here. And we're going to watch lows fall towards the freezing mark as we head into the overnight hours. But there are colder temperatures coming up by the weekend, Josh, along with some chances for snow that I'll be talking about coming up in just a bit.
Winter is coming.
Yes, it is.
All right, Chris, thank you. Right now, control of Congress is at stake as people across the country cast their ballots in the midterm election. Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill with what may be the deciding factor for many voters and which races to watch.
Voters are heading to the polls in large numbers, so many that it could set a record for midterm elections.
I think it's something that people really care about today, more so maybe than the last few years, that people just really need to get out and vote.
CBS News contributor Bob Schieffer says President Trump is a big reason many people are heading to the polls.
You know, I think he's going to energize Republicans, but I think hearing these things day after day, I think he's also going to energize Democrats.
The president wrapped up a cross-country blitz of battleground states last night in Missouri, where Republicans are trying to take the Senate seat held by Democrat Claire McCaskill.
A vote for Claire McCaskill is a vote for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the legendary Maxine Waters.
Democrats need McCaskill to hold on to her seat if they have any chance of taking back the Senate. They'll also be watching close races in Florida and Texas. Democratic challenger Beto O'Rourke has trailed Republican Ted Cruz in every poll heading into today, but he's hoping he convinced enough new voters to prove the polls wrong.
We're going to do this together. We just do not care about the differences between us right now. We want all of us, Republicans and Democrats, independents alike, to come together.
In Florida's Senate race, incumbent Bill Nelson is trying to hold off Republican Rick Scott. Nelson may be helped by a wave of support for Andrew Gillum. He's the Democrat looking to replace Scott as governor.
Ron, come on up.
President Trump's supporter Ron DeSantis is trying to make sure Florida's governor's office stays in Republican hands. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Here in Wisconsin, the candidates for governor are out today making their final pitches to voters. Democrat Tony Evers joined his wife Kathy at the polls this morning at the Madison Public Library. Meanwhile, Governor Walker will be making election day stops in Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Schofield. The most recent poll from Marquette Law School showed the race for governor as a tie, but both sides tell News 3 they don't believe the polls and are urging everyone to get out to vote. The candidates in the race for U.S. Senate are also trying to drive voter turnout today. Senator Tammy Baldwin already voted early, but stopped at the Democratic headquarters this morning as part of a canvass kickoff for supporters. Her challenger, Republican Leah Vukmir, voted this morning in Brookfield. There's been a big push this year to reach young voters using everything from social media campaigns to text directly to their phones. That effort is continuing today on the UW campus with hundreds of volunteers dodging the rain this morning to chalk sidewalks around campus, all to help guide people to the polls. It's part of the Big Ten Voting Challenge, a nonpartisan effort with every school in the conference making a push to get more young people to vote. Organizers say they want to make it as easy as possible for young people who may be voting for the first time today.
They have no idea what to bring, you know, how long the polls are open. So those are things that we want to chalk on the ground so people, you know, if they're walking out of their dorm or going to class, they can see it and be like, oh shoot, I have to go vote today. So ideally visibility is probably our biggest thing.
The Big Ten Voting Challenge started back in September. The university that gets the most voters to the polls this year will win a trophy. If you have any questions while you're headed to the polls, we have a complete voter guide on channel3000.com with everything you need ahead of casting your ballot today. Just click on the banner on the homepage for a full list of the candidates, referenda, and free rides to the polls. And a reminder, if you didn't register to vote ahead of time, you can still do that at your polling location today. News 3 will have team coverage of the election here in Wisconsin and across the country, starting with CBS News national coverage at 7 tonight. Once the polls close at 8 o'clock here, we'll be live streaming comprehensive local coverage and analyzing the numbers in real time, both on channel3000.com and the WISC-TV Facebook page. Then at 9 p.m., our local coverage will be available on Fox 47. And at 10 p.m., join us on WISC for election night coverage you can count on. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Let's see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, some of the best recipes are ones that bring back memories. So join me as I take you back to a country store favorite of mine when I was just a kid. When I was a kid, I remember my dad taking us to this little country store. If we were good, he'd let us pick out 25 cents worth of penny candy. And when I say penny candy, I actually mean that every piece of candy was 1 penny. After filling up our bags, we headed over to the cash register. Next to it was a tray of homemade Hermit bars, and he'd always buy me one so I could eat it on my way home. So here's my take on it. We start by creaming together some butter and brown sugar. Once it's light and fluffy, we add in some eggs. Now we lower the speed and add in water, baking soda, and a few spices. Then we gradually add in some flour and mix it well. And what makes a hermit bar are all the raisins, dried cranberries, and chocolate chips that it's studded with. After it bakes and cools for a bit, we'll cut it into bars. These are perfect for fall, since the cinnamon and nutmeg give them such a cozy taste. Plus, they're very moist, just like I remember. To get the recipe for our country store hermit bars, all you have to do is visit our website. Just one bite, and you'll know why I love them so much. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a memorable way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, you might want to grab a jacket if you're heading out to vote during the lunch hour. Meteorologist Chris Reese will have your updated Election Day forecast in just a few minutes. Keep watching News 3 at noon. Our Call for Action phone bank will be open tomorrow to take on your consumer issues. You can call our hotline and volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. That number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. After being criticized for the way it handled false information on its platform in previous elections, Facebook is purging more than 100 fake accounts. Dan King-Hall has today's financial news from Wall Street.
A crackdown on Facebook. The social media giant says it blocked 115 possibly fake accounts on the eve of the midterm elections. The clampdown followed a tip from federal authorities saying the accounts showed suspicious behavior and might be linked to foreign entities. CVS is getting a boost from its pharmacy business. The drugstore chain says earnings rose to almost $1.4 billion in its third quarter. That was better than expected. CVS is also closer to finalizing its acquisition of health insurer Aetna, which it says will be completed before Thanksgiving. Beginning next year, it's going to cost you more to click and ship. FedEx is raising prices by almost 5% in January. That matches the increase it made this year. Prices are on the rise due to higher fuel costs. FedEx is following in the footsteps of the U.S. Postal Service, which proposed to raise shipping rates for priority mailboxes by 5.9%. And 7-Eleven is jumping on the cashierless trend. The retailer is testing a mobile app that will allow customers to scan and pay for items without a cashier. The new Pay and Go feature is being tested in Dallas first, but 7-Eleven plans to roll it out to other cities beginning in 2019. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yonke. And Pam, more rain can't be good news for farmers right now.
Well, it all depends how you look at it. Today, that rain is likely giving them a chance to get into the polls, so that's the good thing. Hopefully, our rural vote's going to show up strong at the polls and let their voice be heard, regardless of party affiliation. Be great to make sure that they're getting their voices heard, because we do have a farm bill that's currently in the works that's going to be implemented in 2019. So some of those national offices, very, very critical for us in Wisconsin. As far as the harvest is concerned, we got the latest numbers from the Wisconsin Ag Statistical Service. As of Sunday, just 46% of our Wisconsin corn crop has been harvested. We're still ahead of our 5-year average and ahead of where we were a year ago. 68% of our corn crop still called good to excellent, despite all the rain and even some of the compromised crops that are actually tipped over in fields now. 20% moisture on any of the corn that's still out there and probably gaining on a day like this. Probably a lot more concerned about what's happening with our Wisconsin soybean crop. 61% of our soybeans harvested as of Sunday. That's 7 days behind where we'd normally be at this stage in the game. And obviously with this weather forecast we're looking at, we may have to wait until things freeze up out there before we can get back out and try it again. Dairy markets today in Chicago are feeling a lot of downward pressure. Very concerned right now watching fluid milk contracts. We're down below $15 a hundredweight on basically everything. This morning, when I was doing the early show, you had to get out to July before we got to $16, and now we're barely able to get to $15. So a real downward surge as far as dairy is concerned. Barrel cheese today in Chicago dropped a half a cent to $1.33.5. 40-pound block cheese was unchanged at $1.45 3/4. And again, a big drop today as far as butter, down 4 3/4 cents to $2.24 a pound. So that's definitely a distraction for a lot of our farmers out there. But the bottom line is, this wet weather, not what we need for the harvest, but maybe exactly what we need to make sure that our rural audience, our farmers, their families, their employees get a chance to get in and vote.
Love that positive energy there, Pam.
Giving it a shot anyhow.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
You bet.
Yeah, and really, it could be worse out there. I know you're talking colder temperatures later this week, so you just got to think positive.
It could be worse. In fact, the way I see it, Election Day turned out well for us, given that the rain ended early, but we are tracking how things are playing out as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Here's Doppler track right now. You can already see most of that rain is starting to come to an end and move its way out of the area. There is some snow on the backside of that. Most of that should remain far north of here. But as we add up the rainfall that we received as of midnight this morning, we are now evenly at 48 inches of rain for the year. Still the third wettest year on record. If we get another 4 to 5 inches of rain between now and December 31st, it could become the wettest year on record. We'll see how that plays out. 46 degrees right now, some light rain being reported at the airport. Winds out of the west and northwest at 13 miles per hour. But you see a lot of folks who are still in the 40s right now. 37 as we work our way over towards Decorah, Illinois, or Iowa rather. And here's the colder air all working its way on into town. So we're going to see temperatures continue to drop going through the afternoon. 44 by 3:30, 38 at 8:30, and then overnight we'll see temperatures fall towards the freezing mark. Then as we head into tomorrow morning, here we are at lunchtime. and it's still 38 degrees. Yes, we are going to get very chilly. We should top things out right around 41 tomorrow. Another cold night headed into Thursday, but then Thursday at lunchtime, 33 degrees. So yes, we are progressively getting colder through the week. Here's that dive of colder air moving in by this weekend. We'll see another push of colder air that comes in as we head towards this time next week. So it's ultimately a cooler pattern taking shape that will have some chances for some light snow in the mix. Clipper number 1 on Friday morning. Another possible clipper south of us headed into Friday afternoon. Another clipper possible as we head into early next week. And none of those are going to bring substantial snows. But of course, it's Winter Weather Awareness Week. We're talking about different storm systems that do impact our weather. And the ones that bring substantial snow are known as panhandle hooks. They tap into Gulf of Mexico moisture and typically bring heavy snow to the upper Midwest. And thankfully, we are not expecting anything like that. But if that happened and you were stranded in your car, for one, stay in your vehicle if you happen to slide off the road. And so, of course, I do have more tips on social media as to what you should keep in your car in the event of that. But nonetheless, cold temperatures certainly coming into town. We're going to see that stick around through the next 10 days with chances of snow in the mix Thursday next week.
That time of the year where you just got to be prepared just for about anything, right?
Yes, you do. In fact, 50% of our rain events at this point are rain and 50% are snow.
All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
Still to come on News 3 at noon, Angie Edge from the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin will join us. She's going to show off an easy side to make for your Thanksgiving or fall celebrations. Stay with us. And welcome back. Angie Edge joins us from the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. We're, of course, getting closer to the holidays, and you've got kind of an easy and yummy recipe for us today.
Right. When you visit our website this month, you're going to find lots of ideas for your Thanksgiving celebration. We have appetizers, we have side dishes and desserts, all featuring, of course, Wisconsin cheese. So
gotta have the cheese, right?
We're going to feature some healthy side dishes today that really take them to the next level with some Wisconsin cheeses. And I actually brought one of the best cheeses for you to try today. It's the Sarvecchio Parmesan that's made in Plymouth by Sartori. And it's actually the most highly decorated Parmesan in the world, winning both international, U.S., and world awards. So can't wait for you to try this one as a feature in the salad. So only a few ingredients, very simple to make. You're going to start with a small butternut squash and peel that, and you're going to bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes and cube it with a little vegetable oil and salt and pepper. So we're going to add that onto our salad. Like I said, very simple to make.
We're all about easy, right?
All about easy, colorful. 1 cup of cranberries. Wisconsin's also famous for our cranberries, dried cranberries, and very popular around Thanksgiving. We have 1 cup of walnuts. And then this is a bright lemon vinaigrette that's homemade with only 3 ingredients. Again, an olive oil, there's a little lemon juice and balsamic vinegar. You're probably wondering, where's the cheese? And this is 1 cup of that Sarvecchio Parmesan that I've actually pre-grated, but you're just gonna add that onto the salad. So it's just as simple as that. So if you're wondering what to bring to your Thanksgiving celebration, this is a beautiful autumn salad that is easy to make and easy to transport.
And I think that's always the hardest thing, is you're always trying to find something new, but you don't want to bring something too heavy. This is kind of a nice little side
it's
here.
Very colorful, very tasty. Another dish is on the front page. It's a broccoli and cauliflower casserole that features a Romano, but you could definitely use the Parmesan cheese as well, just boosting it up a notch with that flavor of cheese and also some breadcrumbs. But this has a really nice nutty flavor that almost has some underhints of caramel in it as well. So very tasty type of Wisconsin cheese.
Awesome. Well, it smells good, looks good. If people are interested in reaching out to you, how can they do that?
They can visit our website at wisconsincheese.com, and you'll find all of these delicious recipes.
All right. Well, as always, Angie, thank you so much for coming in, and happy early Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah, to you too.
Chris, we'll get a final check of the forecast.
That's right. We're going to keep a lot of those clouds around today, but I do want to go ahead and retouch on this. Of course, we've talked about the fact that it is Winter Weather Awareness Week, and I was talking about if you were stranded during a snowstorm in your car. Here are some of those things that you should keep in your car: a scraper and a shovel. You want to make sure that you're able to keep the tailpipe clear, along with sand or kitty litter for extra traction, and then ways to keep warm.
All right, Chris, thank you, and thanks for joining us. We'll have the latest on the election coming up, starting at Live at 4.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.